So the other maps that we can use, we'll head back to Max here. The third map type that we can use is a normal bump map. And we probably won't be going into detail on how they work specifically, since normal mapping is such a complex subject. But they're used to add a high degree of surface detail on a lower resolution model. So for instance, here is an example of a cable weave normal map reacting to the light within 3D Studio Max. And here's a same example within the Replicate Equipment Previewer. You can see how it adds just a little bit of extra surface detail, making it look a lot higher poly than what it actually is. And you can create them a number of ways by using 3D Studio Max and the texture baking dialog in tandem with the projection modifier. Or you could use it by using third-party products like Crazy Bump or XNormal. So I'll take you through that real quick. I've got a basic height map here, just a noise texture that can be tiled. And I've got it loaded up in Crazy Bump here. And you can adjust the intensity in programs like these. We'll go ahead and save this out as noise normal back to the desktop and open it up in our file here. Normal maps are a little different. You've got to use the normal bump node here because the default behavior for Max when loading up a bitmap channel is it's looking for a height map. So using this normal bump changes the type of map that it's looking for to use this normal map that we've created. So load that in the normal channel. And to see that in the viewport, instead of using show standard map in viewport, we'll switch it over to show hardware map in viewport. And we can see that that is a little too much here. One other thing that carries over to Replicate is our tiling value. So we can up this tiling value a little bit. So let's increase it to maybe 5 times and see what that will look like. Maybe render that out. So it's still a little intense. We can reduce the value so that it's not too terribly bad, and try rendering it out again. That's not quite enough. So that gives it a little bit of extra texture. The tiling values that we adjusted here in the normal map, each individual map can support tiling values. So if you want to create your textures by changing this value for each map, that's fine. All of those tiling values will carry over to the Replicate editor as well. So our final supporting map here is the reflection map. And since getting accurate ray traced reflections within real time is generally a heavy operation, you can fake a reflected environment by using a spherical map. So we'll go ahead and load that up in the reflection channel here. So we've got just a general metal reflection for this demo, but if you've modeled your own 3D environment, you can create your own spherical map from that 3D environment by using the Panorama Exporter tool. You can save out a spherical environment from that tool for use when creating your content for Replicate. So that's it for the supported maps, but I did want to go into one other map type, And for that, we'll go over to the Cummins 855 test file again. You'll take a look at the water filter here. If you look at the material, you'll notice that we've taken advantage of a opacity map. The reason for that is that Max has some complications with displaying PNG images within the viewport. So what we've done is we've created an opacity map here, and I'll show that to you in Photoshop so you can get a better idea. This is the opacity map for our diffuse map here, and the black areas won't be shown. That'll be your full alpha, and the white areas will be shown in the viewport. You'll want your diffuse map to have the alpha values in it already. Without this opacity map, we get some render artifacts, and that's even within the render environment. So for best results, we'll generally take advantage of this opacity map. And when we export over to replicate, it'll throw out that data as an unrecognized map type, and it'll use the alpha from our diffuse channel here. The other things are when you export your replicate equipment file, your textures will also be encoded into it, meaning if you need to deliver your equipment file to another computer, you won't be needing to provide your texture maps along with that equipment file. So if you need to demo this for another user, of course that's not to say you'll want to throw out your texture maps. You'll want to maintain those texture maps as source material to make alterations when needed.
All right, so that's it for this demo. In the next video, we'll be going into some of the animations and how to get that working in the Replicate Equipment Previewer. So we'll see you then.